You love to see, and here we go. We're starting off right away. No waiting around when it comes to the World Team League. They keep us going. As there's going to be Dark in the top left, Kira in the bottom right. Dragon Kaiser game versus Team Liquid starts off right now. Game number 1 on Oceanborn. Pretty regular map to start us off on, fairly macro-y, right? I think a lot of people have been pretty happy with macro on this map in general, so probably expecting to see a little bit of something there as we get ourselves into this and we wait to see just what it is that we are going to get up to. Obviously, here, very strong macro Terran, very strong micro Terran. I really feel like on any given day he can take Dark to the late game as well and just really have his way with him, which is crazy to say about Dark, but Kira is just that good. So exciting that Liquid obviously picked him up, new addition to the roster that should be freaking amazing just in general. I do like Oceanborn for opening map. I could see this one being 15-20 minutes, just start off the day in all of the good ways. So just have a look at our World Team League sponsors, helping to keep this tournament going week after week, season after season. It has been going a long time now. Obviously, we've had some sponsors join us. We've had some sponsors leave the World Team League, but in general, it's just always been a very fun event to watch, and we've been continuing to enjoy it. So thank you to anyone that helps make this tournament keep on happening. I can only say that we appreciate that. Well, CC comes down after a Reaper-based opening here. Can't really say that that's too surprising or anything, though. Everything looking pretty regular for the most part. Let's just have our hat-trick coming up and the feelings on the way, so not even anything too crazy from Dark. He's getting himself into that third hat-trick pretty much straight away here. Just continuing on and along, so yeah, so far so good in that regard. Couple queens on the way out, Overlord still building, hatchery, the drones, etc. just coming through. The Reaper hops into the main base and is going to drop down one grenade. Already started to go after those drones a little, try and get some damage done. Let's just have ourselves a couple links still coming through, that hatchery still building. Reaper fights, queen fights back. Yeah, in fact, you're just about to finish. CC still coming through. We have ourselves the Orbital and the SCV still producing on in. The Reaper drops another grenade down. Well, obviously we expect this Reaper to kind of keep around for a little bit. Look at that third CC on location from Q. God, that's a brave one. But you know what? He might just get away with it, and if he does, well, more credit to him for taking a little bit of a risk. And like I say, he's absolutely going to get away with it, I think. I don't think there's anything the Dark really has going on here that can really punish him, because he's gone for such a fast 3 base. He's not gotten that gas rolling. Dark playing gasless is actually going to be a massive W here for Q. Because well, I don't know if him playing gasless specifically is the reason it's a massive W. He's playing this style. He's playing that kind of base on location because Dark is playing gasless. He's figured it out, and he is trying to push it into his favor. So he's going to get that working along very nicely for himself here. Let's just have ourselves the Banshee on the way up and Marine on the way in. And going for a couple more moments. Wait to see where we are. We want to keep moving to. Let's just have ourselves the Reapers and the Hellions at the front, just going to be backing it up a little bit. Obviously, the Banshee's popping out, the Cloak on the way, the Roaches all coming through as well, so all of that continuing to go just for the moment. So again, so far, so good, really. Again, looking pretty decent across the board. Let's just have ourselves the single Marine going to come tapping away and starting to deal some additional damage as well. And we got ourselves a game on our hands. Alrighty. Loving it so far. Loving it so far, as we just have this Banshee obviously now able to control the map a little bit as well, so it's going to begin to do that. So control the map a little, just set up on that one. Just try and see, again, if there's anything that can really be done over these next few moments as we just have ourselves the Q Hellions sitting pretty passively. Dark did in the end throw down a Roach run, so he did play Gasless now into Roaches, so just going to play straight into that. Just going to see if I can get rid of an Overlord as well. So just going to grab that nice and quickly, and that Banshee is, you know, it's got Cloak available. He only ever built one, so it's not like he's got a bunch of Banshee action that's been waiting to happen. Definitely been an interesting early few moments just because it's been a little bit irregular, right? It's been a little bit different to what you usually see. Right now, all those Hellions head back along over the side, so they're just going to back it up a little bit as well. And yeah, Reaper, Viking continue to come about here. We can see again everything together. If they can get in there and try and deal some damage, that'd be great. Continues to build into siege tanks. The drones evacuate. The Roach is just a little slow to move over there, so he's just going to be very cautious about his movement of units. And thank you, Braindead, for the 6-month resub on the Prime. Welcome back. Thank you so much for subbing us up. I really appreciate it. Infestation pick coming in. The melee upgrades, the Ling speed, the Roach speed, all the good stuff continues into play at the moment, so all of that just continues up here. We take a couple moments to get settled. Well, we've got quite a few Roaches kind of out and about on the map. Obviously, melee upgrades and Ling speed still coming in as well, so keep our eyes on those. We know that they're going to be pretty interesting here. We've seen the Banshee showing up. Actually, no detection or anti-air or anything on this base, so that's going to go quite nicely. That's going to work out wonderfully, in fact. So that works for sure, as our Banshee will get rid of another drone or so. So a little bit more damage being dealt. Just getting a little bit extra out of this for the moment. As you see, our Banshee continues to get a few more drones. Again, just... it's funny because it's one of those games where it's just being very passive, right? There's not necessarily a lot going on at any point in time. These few Marines can't find an entry point because Dog is very well defended, so Dog is not going to leave himself vulnerable to anything. He's just going to go up towards Hive. He's just going to get himself towards those, you know, later game upgrades and setups that you're kind of expecting to see here as a... yeah, as you're kind of just expecting to see here as a Zerg player. The Infestors being available, obviously, great Spellcaster addition to the army, so that's fantastic to have on board as well. Those Marines going to lift up into the medevacs, and they're going to try and get across to the other side. Like I say, this is something that Dog doesn't see. If Kyo could actually get in to deal some damage, like I say, it's been a fairly passive game when it comes to the actual amount of trades happening. It's been pretty... there's just not been a lot happening all of the time, to be quite frank about it. A few Lings continue to patrol over in the base over there, so they continue to hang around for just a little bit longer as well. These Marines do not get anywhere. Bio continues forward. I mean, Q has been on the map, and yet Dark has still found a way to push this creep spread outwards. So he's been able to do that pretty much throughout as well, so that's obviously a big dub. The further out you're able to push that, the better off you're typically going to find yourself. More Marines coming around the right side now, as we do see the Infestors for the first time. Secure is aware of them. He knows to be a little bit more cautious. He knows to be careful about them. So obviously that's great information to have. If you just know to be cautious, then you know you can be cautious. You know to scan ahead. You know maybe there's going to be lurking Infestors. It's just something that's good to know about. So now you know it's there. You can respond to it accurately. You can make yourself some better plays as time passes through. The Adrenal Gland is going to be part of the upgrades that are on the way, with Chitinous playing with the extra upgrades as well on the Zerg side of things at the moment. So all of that just continues to come through. And Marines, Hellbats, and Tanks all push up into the center of the map, so they are all out into the middle, continuing their way across. Still some Marines chilling out above on the high ground. And these couple of drops just waiting for their chance to maybe get something done, as they are going to see big stim up the left side, while at the same time Dark is across the map. So we are going to start having a little bit of, not really a base trade, it's just a run by across the map. As you can see on the picture-in-picture, it's doing decent damage. The Lings are running in quickly. They are getting to work almost straight away here. They are absolutely refusing to mess about, so no like I say, well, just no messing about being done right there. As you do have these few Marines will go chasing. In the end, then you get about, what, 5 SCVs as Dark? I'm not sure if he's going to love that. I'm not sure if that's enough for him to be happy, as the Blinding Cloud is amazing on those siege tanks. He gets rid of a lot of them without them being able to fire back. Dark still chasing forward. Banelings are starting to catch, and Cure, I think, in a little bit of a precarious spot here. Caught just a little bit too far forward and without enough support to really see him too any better of a position. I mean, he's going to get a few reinforcements showing up, but Dark is already instantly rebuilding. So many more Zerglings on the way. So much happening for Dark. It feels as though Dark is off to a very good start, actually, as we just see Marines continue to gather back up. We'll see another hatchery up on the top side. I mean, this is the thing, Dark. He might have lost that left side base, but he can now just re-expand elsewhere. That said, Cure's moving in towards 5 base, so while this was maybe the prettiest fight of all time for Cure, it's definitely far from the end of the world. It's very much so still a, pretty gosh darn playable position, so you can definitely still do something with that. As we've got ourselves the couple of infestors looking around, you know how dangerous those can be. Lurking infestors just popping out the ground, dropping the fungal out of nowhere, and just making any Terran player's life a misery, right? A fungal that you're not expecting can really just completely scrap a fight. But obviously, once the fungal's landed, it's too late to back away. It's too late to do anything differently. You know, you're already committed through at that point in time. So, yeah, at that stage, it becomes rather difficult to swing around into any sort of other setup at all. As you see, Lingroach Ravager Bane going to make its way across right now, guys. So it is coming over. That's a lot of units, and that's a base killed for Q. Now Q is going to get up on the other side, and he is going to try and find himself some counter damage. So if he could do that, then absolutely brilliant. He's going to look for a hatchery to begin with, for example, so that's great. He's going to be seeing these lings continuing through. And then we'll go after as much as possible, so just try and find anything and everything. Fungal growth is good. Lands on a lot of these units. Parasitic Bomb going off on the Vikings as well, so another nice catch on that one. I like it. That was a good moment or two for sure. I mean, a couple fungal growths continue like that. Kira still competitive in supply, but is it enough to be out on the map, kind of, playing with the edge of creep? Blinding Clouds are perfect from Dark. They are all over this Terran army. There's not a tank that's gone with vision, and that means that this should be a very one-sided fight. You can already see Dark supply barely moving, because even if he is losing anything, he's got the money and the freedom to rebuild straight into it. And this has been a game that's been all about Dark, that's been all about him. It's been Dark this and Dark that, and honestly, we are on our way to a Dark victory here, I think, in this game number 1, as I don't think there's much else to... Well, don't get me wrong, Q still has a bunch of base, and given time he'll rebuild, but the start of this has been rough. He is going to have to find a good turnaround to start really turning this in the other direction, Like, he is really going to have to switch things up a little bit, so work to be done for sure if you're Q. And I'm not sure you're necessarily going to find that. Lots of Roach Ravager Bane coming across. And obviously Dark is still able to just rebuild and just go again and go again. Pull the trigger, fire one more time. Already taken out of base here. Secure's already going to have difficulty rebuilding. Whereas we're talking about Dark being able to just go, pretty much immediately once more. Parasitic Bomb. Might lose the hatchery, but he's going to get rid of the medevac perhaps. And yeah, just getting rid of the threats on the map. Cure is not in a place to rebuild units. So losing out on that medevac and those units inside of it is absolutely not a good thing for Cure. That's absolutely a problem he is now facing. That's the sort of thing he has to keep on bouncing back from time and time again, whereas Dark just is free to do as he wishes. The Ultras are here. They are making waves on the map. They are moving around, and they are looking very good for themselves as we continue to get set up here in this game. Number 1 with Dark more or less on the edge of victory. I really do feel as though it's more a matter of time than anything else. As you see, the Ultra is just going to charge on through. Q does not have an answer. Q will have one answer, actually. It's GG. He doesn't have an answer to win the game, though, and that means Dark is going to go up by a map for a Terran player, and Terrans typically like to utilize those to their advantage, so I imagine for the most part that's likely what we're going to be seeing here. As we get ourselves going, Q starts bottom right-hand side, same as last game, and so will Dark then be in the same position as he was in the top left. Obviously different maps, similar locations. Hopefully for Q this starts to look a whole lot different, because that was not a pretty first game to open up with as Dark. It's really on the roll quickly this time around. More drones coming through. Still got an SCV on the way out. Just going to be having our barracks getting placed into position. The drone going to come down to the low ground and look to see just what's going to go down. CC is going to be chilling. And we get ourselves just the racks and the gas. Nothing too crazy to start out with then, in all honesty. Everything looks pretty regular in that regard. There's the hatch gas pool. Obviously, I guess that's a bit different to what we saw before as well, right? Because we did previously see... Sorry, excuse me. We did previously see Dog playing gasless then into those roaches. So, yeah. That's actually kind of a cool way to open. And Q definitely taking advantage of noticing the fact it was going to be gasless, that he could get away with his own command center on location. Tell you what, though, he never found a way to deal any damage, right? It was a very passive early stage of the game. Nothing really went down for quite a long time. It really was the epitome of just passivity and just waiting to see what was going to sort of happen next. This one pool finishes up. We do have a Reaper command center and everything on the way in for a few moments as well. So just continue to bring that about for now. Link speed continues through, and just got ourselves a couple queens to overlord the lings. We'll continue to build here for the moment. Reaper shows up, gonna go flanking through. That's gonna try and get a drone. Forces a smoke roll, always nice, although in a bit of a precarious spot, it is gonna have to just jump up to the high ground and get away there. Make sure nothing too bad happens with it. Obviously wants to protect itself as well. Further scouting and further information gathering is almost always going to be a useful thing from this Reaper, so you don't want to just be giving it up without rhyme nor reason. It's definitely just something to be, again, careful of, keep an eye on. Speed the queen. We'll continue through just for a couple of moments, getting everything settled still. Hellions again. We've been seeing reactive Hellions kind of come back to the meta, which is so funny to say because, again, we had years upon years where reactive Hellions were the only thing you could do in TVZ. And yes, there was a lot you could do behind that, but, you know, in terms of just the generic kind of what you're going to see, you pretty much always saw Hellions. That's not been the case lately with the Reaper builds, a lot of Marine-focused openers. But it does feel like the last week or two, we've started to see the Hellion builds just creep back and players just kind of realizing, hey, they're starting, you know, Zergs are starting to be kind of greedy sometimes against us when we're not going Hellions. Or if we start reactoring out 6 to 8 Hellions again and just run by if they're being too greedy, you know, and if not, then it's still a good opener for us, right? Maybe it's not got, you know, as much pressure as like a drop of Marines or so, but it still holds map control. It's still going to deny creep. There's a reason this was a standard for years. So I feel like we're starting to see the, you know, Terran players trend back toward that Hellion style, which again is taking a backseat pretty much ever since the Reaper builds came around again with the kind of forward racks Reapers. Just because those builds kind of, you know, enabled so many other non-Hellion builds, because obviously you're kind of just barracks focused, so then you'd see a lot more Marine base pushes, faster barracks, faster kind of emphasis on going in towards Starport and Medivacs. It's just a lot of differences there in general. The aliens continue to gather together. We do have ourselves the Overlord just hanging out overhead. And that's still coming up. A couple of Evo chambers, the lair coming through. We got ourselves the drones and the lings. We'll continue now just for the moment. As few Marines still denying an Overlord off over to the left-hand side. It's just keeping that back for a little while. Best as possible. Plenty more drones, melee upgrade, bait lane speed, all of that continues up just for the moment. So again, just bringing all of this through as we have ourselves the extra drones on the way, the hatchery coming up. So Overseer just chilling back out over to the left-hand side. As you see a couple Banshees showing up, they're going to go in after them Queens. We're starting to take quite a bit of damage. Just got ourselves the Banshees escaping away down the right side. Hellion is going to come through there and grab a Zergling already. And this Banshee is going to go through. Hatchery will be taking some damage pretty much straight away. Got that Spire coming out as our extra hatcheries, our extra drones, lings, all continue to come by. Lings chilling out over on the left hand side just a moment or so. Still got those melee upgrades coming up. You'll see our Burrow coming through. Burrow's obviously a fun one because if you get Burrowed Banes out early, then you can maybe try and get something done with that, so that's always a possibility. Maybe seeing a couple Banes in the main base. Going to come back at 3 SCVs. Push from Q, though, is getting up the map, and Doc does not currently have vision of that, so he doesn't have anything pre-positioned on this side either. So this actually might go for Q and get a lot done. High potential right now as he comes swinging into this base. Yep, it's just going to be given up. So Doc realizing he's caught off guard. Can't really do much to keep that alive, so yep, just does the right thing and steps away, gives it up. No reason to try and force the issue, right? Trying to force the issue is probably one of the worst things you could do in this scenario, so just let it be. Let it be what it is. As the Fumerlings start to load back up into an Overlord, back in we go. I keep the drops going. I like that from Dog, finding some aggression of his own as Kua put himself in a good place on the other side of the map. I see a couple more Marines continuing by. Here come the Mutas as well, by the way, so they're going to come straight on in. They're going to go after some Lings here pretty much immediately. Some SCVs here immediately. The attack on the other side is starting to not look that threatening anymore, so it's important that you kind of just wrap this up as Q and you don't take too much damage from these Mutas or so, otherwise you could end up in a whole bunch of trouble. Definitely one thing to watch out for a little bit as we do see the Medivacs just loading back up there, bringing these units away, keeping them out of trouble for the moment at least. Just keep them out of the way as best as they can. As hell, here's the issue: if the Mutas come back and they play cleanup, the Medivacs obviously are not a guaranteed safe escape like they might have usually kind of been used to being. So that's going to turn out to be costly. Kyo loses everything on the other side of the map, so his attack, it didn't really do anything else, right? Like, it just never backed away. I mean, I guess in the end you could argue it's brought the Mutas back home, but I mean, I don't think the Mutas mind coming home when they find that much value. You know, if you find that much in your trades, yeah, I feel like you're going to be okay with that, right? I feel like you're going to be okay with it altogether, so do not feel as though that's going to be a true kind of winning statement. Like I say, you could have done the damage you did with that army and gotten it out of there alive, most likely, so. Anyways, it is what it is. Here on the rebuild once more. Feels as though he's continuing to just trail so far. He has just not been having a great time of it. Let's come back around, wouldn't mind getting picked up. Marines come over, Overlord, Drop Lord is going to start getting picked away at as well. Marines going to come in and try and defend this right side base. That ain't happening, so no fourth from Cure just yet is going to be an issue. As a few Banes get towards those Marines as well, so that's going to be painful. And he just feels like Doc is all over Cure right now. Doc came into today meaning absolute business. He says, we don't mess around in WTL. Dragon Kaiser want to get one of those nice high seeds. Liquid are a big competitor of Dragon Kaiser this season. When you look at the rankings, Liquid are right up there with them. So it's actually a very important matchup because this is potentially the difference of one of these teams starting further along than the other in the playoffs. it's a big match today. Obviously, it's not decided just on this pure Dark series, fortunately for Liquid, but this one definitely is going to put some pressure on Liquid afterwards, because it does look as though Dark is just going to keep on rolling unless he ends up overcommitting with some of these zombies and messing it up. I just can't necessarily see that being the case, honestly, so yeah, he just continues to chase. Obviously, when you've got the mutas chasing you overhead, chasing down Marines, generally not a good sign. We eventually lift up there. I mean, Q's supply is not terrible versus Dark's. It's going to be a matter of, can you gather enough units in one place to actually survive? Hey, kind of. The 4th base should be denied again here unless Q can somehow get across there. I guess that would be a great little something if he was able to, but obviously no guarantees on that. TV's continuing to mine away. Just going to be having our mutas still coming out. 10 more links coming around. Drones producing. All of that continues in for the moment. Extra mutas still on the way through. Plus 2 flyer attack is coming up. The Lings and the Banes all continuing to produce. So all of that just being brought into play. Let's see where we go, as our mutas will once again continue around the bottom side of the map there, so they will just make their way across for a few moments now. Now going to dive into this mineral line. A few SCVs already in trouble. Just flying into the main base. See a couple of those missile turrets starting to go down, so a little bit of extra damage being dealt. Just fly out. 6 SCVs go down so fast that 6 workers being killed. Thor pops out, starts to do some damage as well. He is now coming over on the left-hand side, but we'll just go after refinery, maybe a couple of the depots as well, a possibility. And continue to camp out over on this edge as we just see the mutas, the overseers, continuing to back it up, continue to escape away. Extra Banes coming through. Q's supply, don't get me wrong, has never really been terrible, and keeping the 4th base in position now is going to be a big deal. Actually, having this base to mine off of may just keep Q somewhat, I don't want to say stabilized. I guess he is stabilized, right? Like, he's not in a great fighting position, but he's not dead. He's not completely doomed in this scenario, right? So, I guess there's some benefits to look at from there as we just have these Banelings. Gonna try and roll into this mineral line. The few SCVs already taking some shots. The Lings continue over. SCVs continue to run into position as well. A couple of shots going off with the Widow Mines. 8 SCVs going down. Once again, it's Dark that's picking and choosing these fights. Now the mutas are going to cause havoc as well. Kira is up the right side of the map. Well, it's kind of central right side. He is making a play out to the other side, so he's looking to get something done. As you see, the mutas continue to come by, continue to play cleanup for the moment, continuing to just shut down whatever they can find right here as our bio continues over, and just going to see some Banes crashing into the front lines. Mutas still out overhead, still just going to see our bio pushing up the center. The Thor's still there. They just come back in once again, going after the missile turrets straight away. He's just going to go hunting those immediately. Orbital command is going to go down, so the orbital dies. I'm just going to be seeing those mutas still being chased about here, there, and everywhere. I mean, the mutas are just controlling this, and that's the issue, right? Q is maybe being able to stabilize to some extent, but not being in control of the game yourself lets Dark continue to do this, and then you have to be, play the more difficult role, which is the defender, dealing with that harassment that can show up almost anywhere because that's just the mobility of the mutas. I think Q is right to try and put some pressure on the other side. Dark is getting away with this game if he doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, I think Dark might have done a bit too much anyway, as you can just see he's got the money for days. Q just never really got a grip in this series, right? Like, this was Dark all the way through. Both games, Dark, Dark, Dark. Absolutely nobody else, nothing else. Just all about our Dragon Kaiser Zerg player, who has been an absolute superstar to open this series. And what a big one it is, like I say, is, oh my god, the Burrowed Banelings. Yeah, that's the moment where you just GG. This is where Dark's starting to make a fool of you. Because, like, okay, GG. Burrowed Banelings connect well, and it's just going to be Q not having enough to stay in the event.